What if I told you the future of New York City depends on what we do this year? Housing, climate change, policing, and Trump's Project 2025 agenda. These aren't just problems, they're battles. And the stakes have never been higher. New York City isn't just another city. It's a microcosm of America. What happens here sets the tone for the rest of the country. But in 2025, we're facing challenges that demand action. Let's break down the biggest issues shaping our city's future and what this election could mean for all of us. So as we know, rent prices are skyrocketing, pushing lifelong New Yorkers out of their neighborhoods. Some of you watching this right now might be watching this in another state from the New York that you grew up in and lived in. I know many of you guys moved to North Carolina, Georgia, Texas, Florida, Connecticut is a big one I'm hearing now. And that's because of rising rent costs and people wanting to start families. I empathize. But why is all of this happening? Well, developers are flooding the market with luxury apartments. But where's the affordable housing? Rent control and tenant protections. New York City has stabilized apartments that protect millions, but loopholes allow landlords to raise rents beyond reach. The city council can close these loopholes, but lobbying from developers has stalled that progress. Meanwhile, Albany holds the keys to statewide rent control regulations, and they're not doing anything about it. What about the homelessness situation? Well, permanent supportive housing works, and cities like Salt Lake City and Utah have shown how it can drastically reduce homelessness. But New York City's funding for such programs is only a fraction of what's actually needed. We're spending billions on shelters instead of permanent solutions for people, putting band-aids on the issues instead of stitching it up. Yeah, Salt Lake City, Utah. Who thought that they would be so progressive to do something like that? I don't know. I guess it's because it's all Mormons. Who knows? Anyway, so the fight for global change, right? Or climate change. It's an important fight. New York City is one major storm away from catastrophe. Hurricane Sandy was a wake-up call to all of us. But have we really done enough since then? Well, let's look at green infrastructure. Cities like Rotterdam have embraced green infrastructure. Flood barriers, parks that double as reservoirs, and buildings designed to absorb water. New York City has dabbled in similar solutions like the East Side Coastal Resiliency Project, but progress is painfully slow. How about transportation? The MTA is struggling with outdated systems. Yet, electrifying our buses and expanded bike lanes could drastically cut down on emissions. We need a mayor who prioritizes long-term sustainability over the quick wins. And that's really important if we want to be able to get to where we're going. Now next, policing and public safety. Safety matters, but at what cost? The New York City spends more on the NYPD than most countries spend on their entire military. Let me say that again. New York City spends more on the NYPD than most countries spend on their entire military. Experts suggest shifting funds toward mental health services and youth programs and affordable housing are proven ways to reduce crime. You know, getting to crime before it even starts. Look at Camden, New Jersey. They overhauled its police system and saw crime rates drop dramatically. Why isn't New York City following suit? It's not like we don't know what's going on in New Jersey. So anyway, here is what's really important to me and what really activated me to start this series is understanding that New York City is going to be a sanctuary and a safe haven against Trump's agenda and Project 2025. So let's look into the details of that. Federal policies could undo decades of progress in New York City. And Trump's Project 2025 agenda aims to slash funding for sanctuary cities like ours, roll back environmental protections like ours, and privatize public housing like NYC. Wow, how bad would that be? Now think about the local protections we have thus far. Let's get into the details. New York City has declared itself a sanctuary city, but federal funding could leave vital services like education and healthcare underfunded. City leaders need strategy to protect these programs and resist harmful federal mandates. Can you imagine if RFK does end up owning the FDA and he bans vaccines and New York City can't get its vaccines? You know what would do to a city of 10 million people? Just look at what happened during COVID and understand it'd be 10 times as worse. I say that with no hyperbole. That's just a piece of the puzzle to show you how bad things can get if we don't fortify ourselves and make sure New York City has all the things and all the protections it has in place to keep from the disastrous, demonstrous effects of Project 2025. These aren't just local issues. They're battles with national and global consequences. The choices we make in 2025 would define our city's future, our country's future, probably the world's future. Will we show up and show out, or will only 20% of us come out for local elections and only 7% of us vote for the mayor this time around? If you're interested in all of this, if you want to be empowered and get all the resources you need to make an educated decision, to find potential candidates and to uplift them before the time comes, before it's too late, then you should subscribe and follow for more deeper dives into these issues about how we can take action.